So I have been in isolation, complete isolation, since August 20th, 2023, when I had to walk away from my husband. So I went from a wife and mother staying in a 3-bedroom townhome, fully furnished, to what I am now in a matter of 24 hours. It's kind of like one of those things where you say, be careful what you pray for. Because I had known my husband, our ex-husband now, since I was 15. And my mom kind of pushed me into getting married. My dad was upset about it, but he never wanted to deal with the back and forth with my mom. And so instinctually, since day one, since the day I said I do, I knew something was not right, only to discover, he has been dealing with a lot of issues his entire life and was never faithful to me the whole entire time. We even divorced for 4 years and remarried. But the second time was worse than the first time. On the last run, I spent so much of my time being miserable and sad. But because of church values and my mom, I believed that was all I deserved, so to speak. Because the church said that you never had grounds for a divorce unless someone cheated off of one verse that they found in the Bible. So his premise was, if I couldn't actually prove that he was cheating, then I had no grounds for divorce and I needed to remain in the relationship. And it's amazing to think that there are people who trade in their complete happiness based on one verse of the Bible that's miscontextualized to apply to a lifetime of choices. And then my mother said, men cheat. You just got to accept it. It's not possible to be with a man that doesn't cheat. Those ideals had me trapped in a life that I didn't deserve, nor would I ever find happiness in. So when I say isolation, I mean no human contact for sometimes months at a time. And if you consider high quality sit-down conversations that are meaningful on a consistent basis, it's really been since the beginning of 2024. I've spent this time getting to know myself, getting closer to God, because you go weeks at a time without engaging with any other person or human being. And that's kind of the way it's been since I left. I've not been involved with anybody, had any relationships of any kind at all. It's just been me by myself, outside of maybe the conversations I may have engaged in with people I encounter throughout the day. But for the most part, I am completely alone. And it's interesting because it's like when people say, be careful what you pray for. And as I was sitting in that situation so miserable, I was being drained by my ex, church members, friends, absolutely family members. And then I discovered something, and it kind of made me aware, because a lot of times people will say if you don't have visual proof of things that happen, then it doesn't exist. And that's how people create illusions around yourself and what you think, because your instincts are telling you that something's not right. That's intentional, because they want you to ignore your intuition, because that's how you can be manipulated. As my mental and emotional health continued to decline from all of the treatment that I was receiving, I just began to pray and ask God to help me. Little did I know that my life would change on a dime as a result. The first couple of months were difficult because it was interesting that I discovered the mistreatment towards me Yet the people who were mistreating me expected me to come crawling back and even apologizing for leaving. And so no one contacted me. No one showed any concern. They just ignored me, thinking that ignoring me at some point I would eventually come crawling back. People have such an interesting mindset when they're toxic. I still have not heard from any of those people, even though I overheard what they said. That's also interesting, but to be expected because toxic people do toxic things. So God just uprooted my life completely on a dime and in a way where I had absolutely no control. I could not plan, I could not save, I could not collect my things. I had to leave everything behind if I wanted some changes in my life, and it's almost like He forced it. There was always a choice of taking a chance and a leap of faith and not knowing what would happen, or the choice of going back. But if I had chose to go back, it would have been the end of me, not just on a mental or emotional capacity, but on a physical one. So I go out and I take this leap of faith, and it's been absolutely crazy. There have been days I've had to sleep in my car. There have been days where I didn't know where I was going to go next or even how I was going to get through some things. But what it taught me was that God is always there. And since being by myself, which can make you feel like loneliness, but now I know there is no such thing as loneliness. It's an illusion. And a lot of it is projected on you by the people who are around you and the things that have been taught to you over some years as you're growing up. You know, I learned that I like nature. I learned who I am. I've learned new skills. I've learned who God is because I've actually had the time to sit for the first time in my entire life and just pour into myself and discover who God is to me in my life. No noise, no opinions, no projection of negativity on you. You really just have a chance to sit and think and to get to know yourself in ways that you wouldn't be able to with outside influences. And you know, like I've always been a go-getter, and like I can bounce back from anything. You know, I just get to work, and I've always worked like 3 jobs my whole entire life. But God took all of that away from me. My ability to work, even to move, because when I had a car, it kept getting vandalized. So I choose to walk, take the bus, meet people, get into nature, you know, and that helps you discover yourself and who God is as well. The quiet time has unveiled so much about my life, people's intent, my family, friends, church members. It's like a veil is lifted out of a lot of behaviors that I ignored. And it also helped me relieve myself of a lot of guilt and a lot of shame that was projected on me this whole entire time. And I know there's some people who may not be able to be alone for this amount of time or may not even desire to, and that's okay. But please take time to yourself, even if it's just for 15, 20 minutes, even if it's just a drive down the freeway, even if it's just you closing your door and putting your phone on Do Not Disturb, and take time to sit and reflect on who you are and what you want. Because when you're able to do that, it comes to you. I promise. You just got to be ready for it. I love you. Have a beautiful day in and on purpose. And keep going. I love you.